So I put this on its back and place that piece of trim where it's going to go, and then tested out my crown molding. And you can see that everything lines up pretty much perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and final set these square pieces, well, rectangular pieces of molding around the front and the edges on miters on the corner, and then especially up top. That will help me with setting my crown, because instead of trying to hold it in place, the molding will hold it in place for me and I can make all my marks. So in order to cut all this molding, basically what I did was I took one piece and then cut that 45 on the end. Then I took a receiving piece and cut a 45 and then trimmed it so it fit perfectly on the side. When I had those pieces lined up, I could walk to the end and make a square mark off my edge and then a mark for my 45 and cut that. And then this fits perfectly. So then I could cut another one of these because this one fits perfectly on the other side. And I also went and checked the bottom, and everything fits perfectly on the bottom, which is nice. That means everything's square. So now I could cut 3 of these and 1 more of these and put all this together. So now it's time to cut this crown molding. And I don't cut a ton of crown molding, so I cut a little piece of this and then put that compound miter on one edge. Now the nice thing about the sides are you can cut this pretty much however length you want, and then you could trim it straight at the back, so you don't have to worry about getting it the sides perfect. So now for the front, this piece is a little nicked up in the front, so I'm going to slide it over, and then I just put a reference mark to show me where that miter has to go, since in order to cut this you're going to actually be flipping it on the fence of your saw. So you could see that if you set this on your fence the exact same way that it's in place on the mantle, that this is just going to cut a 45. It won't cut that compound miter. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this and flip it, and that will cut that 45 and that compound miter at the same time. So with those cuts, I have that side pretty much squared away. So on this side, I made another little small piece and cut that compound miter on it and put it into place. And you could see those marks I made where they intersect is where the intersection of this crown should be as well. So then I took this piece and I slid it all the way over to that intersection, as well as lined it up over there on the other side with the intersection and drew a left reference line. Now I'm going to sneak up on this line. I'm probably going to cut it about 1/8 of an inch over from this line, because if you cut this too short, you could fill those gaps. It's just crown molding, it's decorative, it's not structural or anything like that. But it would be nice to have a nice joint here. So I'm going to sneak up on that edge and make sure it all fits into place. So once you have all those cuts, that's basically what that crown is going to look like. Now I have a very small gap at the bottom, which I'm chalking up to the fact that that chop saw I have is not super great or accurate, and the chances of this face, this face, this face all being square, as well as your homemade crown molding being perfectly square, is slim to none, so you'll get these gaps. Now, people that install this for a living have special jigs that will tell you exactly what angle to cut this crown molding on if you're not working with square corners. Since this is going to be painted, I didn't get super crazy with it. I could easily fill this, and once you sand it and paint it, you won't even know that that little gap was there. So now I'm just going to go through and brad nail all of this on. I'll probably leave all of these long and cut them at the end. And then I could go through, and you'll probably have seen in the video, there's little spots where your miters just don't pull all the way together, and that's very common. I could patch all those, and then this is ready for primer. So there's that mantle standing up, and for the corners you could actually see it's filled in nicely. I use a mixture of wood dust and wood glue as putty to fill those corners, which will make it super strong. And then before the day is over, I'm just going to go through with some patching compound and fill these little nail holes and some smaller holes and gaps in my miters. But then after that, this is going to be ready for sanding and then primer. So the last thing I have to do is add the, I guess they'd be facade plinths on the bottom of my pilasters. But before I do that, I'm going to cut them down to the size I want. And that mantle is going to sit right on top of where this line is right here. You're going to have an inch to the top of the mantle. So what I'm going to do is I measured 3 inches up from here, and I'm going to cut them there. And then I'm going to cut some holes in the bottom of the mantle and trim these almost like tenons, and in the bottom of the mantle almost like mortises, so that that will slide right on top of here. With these cut down, I can now trim out the bottoms, and that's just going to be regular square, no frill molding on the bottom 1/2 inch, and it's going to only be 6 inches tall. So I'm going to take a piece of 1/2 inch MDF, rip it down to 6 inches, and then start placing it and cutting miters to attach all of it together. To finish these up, I'm going to be cutting these notches out the side of these pilasters, and then it'll give me almost these 3 tenons on the piece. So then I can line that up with my mantle, cut holes into the bottom of it, and that mantle will slide right on top of this and be held in place. So in order to lay that out, I just trace that inch up from the edge of my detail molding around all 4 sides, and then I went an inch from the corners in on either side, and I just cut that out. So with those cuts in place, before I attach these, I ended up putting a couple of braces on the inside, and that's just cut down 2x4 that I just towed into the side with a couple screws and some glue. And then once that was done, I flipped it over and I made some marks from the edge to the decorative part, and then from the edge of here to the decorative part, and then I could line up my pilasters under that square almost perfect. The rectangle lines up with the square, and then I marked with a pencil around all of these so that when you move it, I'm obviously couldn't get underneath of it, so I'll have to mark underneath and the sides. Now these I could probably cut out with a jigsaw because they go to the back, and then this one I'll cut out with a drill bit and clean it up with a jigsaw. Once I had those marks on that mantle, I flipped it on its head so that I could walk behind it, reset these pilasters up, and mark darker lines on the inside. Now, once I flipped it up, I remembered I put these 45s in the corners, and those are obviously going to have to come out because that one leg will hit it. But now that I have both of these on here, I could take them down, and I'm going to jigsaw out pretty much all those marks.
Temporal scanner thermometer weather center. Hey Google, what's the weather? In Philadelphia tonight, it's predicted to be 45 and clear. Currently it's 52 and sunny. Thanks Google. This weekend look out for more sunshine tomorrow.
So these are my finished pieces. They've all been patched and they're just about ready for paint. You can see the extent of the patching is pretty much nail holes, and then a lot of times with these miters you'll get these little hairline cracks at the seams, and I'll patch those as well. And there's also that finished crown molding with that patch that I used the glue and the sawdust for, and sanding it. Now it looks like one piece, and when this is painted you won't even be able to tell that this wasn't a perfect fit. So the last thing I'm going to do before paint is I'm going to go around all of these inside edges underneath all of my moldings, and I'm going to put some caulk there. So after the caulk is dry, I'm going to be priming this. I'm going to be putting 2 coats of primer on it, and in between that second coat is when I'll go back through and see if there's any spots I missed. The primer will really help bring out minor details that you might need to fix before second coat. You could see all the spots I caulked, and it's pretty much just all the edges, and that's not necessarily because there's huge gaps in this at all. It's just kind of to help with if there is any seasonal changes in the wood. The caulk will stretch with it and hide any gaps until the relative humidity returns back to what it was. So the caulk I use is it's obviously paintable, and it's extreme stretch. It says it fills 2-inch gaps. I obviously don't have any of that on here, but I like the fact that it will stretch with the wood and not crack with the wood. So this needs to dry for about a half an hour, and then I'm going to put the first coat of primer on here. And I have a nicer grade latex primer, Sherwin-Williams, left over from another project, and that's what I'm going to be using. And I'm going to try and roll as much as possible, but I'm going to definitely have to use a brush in some spots as well. I don't know if you could see it in the video, but that piece I had in here snapped off when I tried to lift up this mantle, and I kind of foresaw that coming because it was only connected by a little bit, and MDF is just not super structural. So this is kind of the opening I'm left with, but luckily the legs, the way I cut them with these little tabs here that hang up on the cutouts on the mantle, still work just the way it was intended, and you could see that that one over here is in place. So after that first coat dried, I went through and patched any more little spots I found. There was a couple little nail holes I missed, and then I lightly sanded the entire surface with a fine grit sandpaper. I used 150 because that's what I have, but ideally you probably use something even a little finer than that. And the face of these materials are not going to be too bad, but anywhere you cut that MDF where it shows the edge, it's going to end up a little fuzzy after that first coat of primer. So you really want to get those spots before the second coat. So now I'm going to second coat all this stuff, and then it's going to be ready for delivery. So if you stuck through this entire series, you're rewarded with a display of my stupidity. So these are the old legs, and I was reading the plans wrong for the legs this entire time. I was calculating them as 33 inches total with a 6-inch plinth, which is actually more of a facade plinth, when in actuality the plans were a 6-inch plinth plus 33 inches. So these are supposed to be 39 inches total, not 33 inches total. So I basically had to remake the legs this afternoon. So this is my new stack of legs, and of all the mistakes to make, I mean, obviously it's no fun making a mistake, but I've had these, I think I've only been working on these for like an hour. Doing something the second time's always faster than the first time.